The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Oh. Oh my god, I gotta hit the button. Oh, I was drinking coffee, and it was the end of that song. I thought there was another, verse to that song. I was drinking my coffee, and I forgot to hit the button. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have another sip. Because it is Monday, folks. I had every issue to start the stream possible other than the internet working. The internet's working. No worries, guys. No worries as far as the internet goes. The internet is working. Oh, brought to you by theinternet.com. Theinternet.com brings you all sorts of things. Like stuff and junk and things. And morsels of tidbits of flavors of things that could be happening all around the world. It is Monday. It's Monday'd. March 21st, 2022erd, the year of our Lord, the computer salmon. The computer salmon is, well, my computer was really hungry, okay? It turns out. I kept getting all of the signals from the computer to tell me that it was having hunger pains. I fed it a salmon. No, it's working again. I don't know if you guys know about salmon. Do you guys know about salmon? It's really good for computers. You stick a nice fresh, what do you think? Maybe a sockeye? You know, maybe a Copper River? Maybe a Copper River King. You stick it right in there. Enough fish fats, omegas, and the likes for your computering problems to be solved. Welcome to Computer Hour with Dingleberry McDinglebutts. That's me, Dingleman himself. What's up? It's Monday. I'm having a hell of a Monday, guys. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, and to all my friendly non-binaries, the they, them, and those. I'm having a hell of a Monday today. I'm going in for some gum here. I'm going in for some fresh gum. I had to get me some fresh gum here. Hell of a Monday. The baby bear, my daughter, Olivia, herself, has decided to have allergies today. Like I just... boogery allergy mayhem this morning, so we just kept her home. We kept her home today, so on a Monday, we're out here having fun, taking care of the daughter, numero uno daughter, you know, taking care of her. So it has been a whirlwind of me trying to work, Vicky trying to work with the baby here. She's not so much a baby anymore. Now she's a toddler, so it's hard to corral her energy, whatever you want to call it. She's difficult to corral, is all I'm saying. So that's what's been going on today. This weekend was very, very busy. Saturday was a whole day affair of trying to find a new house with a new fish room, a new viable fish room, which we will be likely putting in a gigantic offer to see if we can't try and purchase a house that we can move to. Today's big argument surrounded around trying to locate internet. If there was internet provider to the to the property there or not. We shall see. It seems like we just figured out that there is internet that goes to that property. So we'll be ironing out an offer on that one and then ironing an offer on another house because we'll likely get outbid like we have this whole entire time. I'm not sure who's outbidding us. I think it's a bunch of septuagenarians. Is that right? When you're in your what is it when you're in your 70s? What's the name for people in their 70s? Septuagenarian. God, I was right. How is it that I was right? My God. Yeah, I think it's septuagenarians. I think it's septuagenarians are the people that we're competing with. I think it's a bunch of people that have sold. They bought their house for $5,000 in 1974, and then they just sold their house for $2 million or something. And they're like, wow, we've got all this extra money that's imaginary, and we'll just buy this house because we kind of like it. That seems to be the people that we're competing with. We're definitely not in a competition with people with kids. That has been clear. It's pretty clear that that we're not competing with people that have a whole lot of things going on. It just seems like we're competing with the people that have a lot of capital and time. Because we, like one of the houses we saw on Saturday afternoon, they've already gotten pre-inspections done, and it's Monday morning. So somehow they have inspectors on the horn to do a pre-inspection on a Sunday. So I don't know if you guys have ever bought a house, but for you to have like a pre-inspection get done before you even put in an offer on like a couple hours notice, that's generally people that just have money to burn, right? So that seems to be the people we're competing with, and it's making it extraordinarily frustrating to the point of people are getting angry. I'm just saying. People are getting frustrated. People are getting upset. People are getting grouchy. People are getting grouchy, guys. This housing market is creating a negative environment psychologically for people. We just want to buy a house. That's all we want to do. We just want to buy a place, and it has become basically it's not completely untenable at this point. As I've mentioned before, my attitude is just ever forward, like just keep going forward. Just keep moving forward is my attitude. But it is frankly just monstrous. It's just monstrous at this point. I was chatting with Wesley earlier on Discord. And by the way, if you're not a member of the Discord, as Wesley posted in the chat way early, he said, make sure to like, subscribe, and become a member/patron. It's really fun on the Discord. Yes, we were chatting on the Discord earlier. Perfect example of like why you should become a Discord member. You should become a member of the channel or a patron. Being a patron doesn't cost that much. I've mentioned it before. It's like $10.80 a year if you do the yearly sign up, which is not very much money, which is the only reason I even bring that kind of stuff up, is that my channel is fan funded here. And if I can't fund projects, I'm not doing them out of pocket anymore. I don't think. even though I do still contribute a lot of money out of pocket. My intention is to not do projects just simply out of pocket anymore. I've gone through my receipts for the last 10 years of being on YouTube, and it's not good. It's not good, bros. I spent more money than I ever made. So I got to stop that. I got to stop doing that, you know. But speaking of that, we're literally going to have to overspend to buy a new house so that I can have a project space to work on YouTube videos. So you see how it's weird? You see how it's weird like that, where you go like, I don't want to spend money out of pocket to make YouTube videos anymore, but then I'm going to spend money out of pocket to be able to have a studio space to make YouTube videos. So you see how weird it is? You know? Yeah. It's very weird. I'm in a very weird position right now. I'm also working full time. If you guys know, if you guys are watching the Aquarium Co-op YouTube channel, you guys will be getting some updates on there at some point. This last weekend, I think yesterday, yeah, they posted a video of Dean and Corey working on some stuff in his fish room there. You got some highlights on some changes of stuff going on there. So there's a bunch of things like in the works right now that I got to deal with, and yeah. S says, but what have you gained that cannot be accounted in terms of monetary? I mean, the community's the big part, which is why I was talking about the Discord, right? The Discord's a big part of our community, and it's a big part of like my day-to-day. As I was mentioning earlier, I was talking to Wesley about the budget for the house, and his reaction was, whoa, it's just going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. Yep. And somebody shared in the Discord article earlier that was highlighting the housing market. The housing market is accelerating, not decelerating. At least that's what Zillow's latest forecast shows. Like the housing market is just continuing to accelerate, and it's ridiculous because we're likely just going to continue to see prices go up. We're just going to continue to see prices go up, and they're just going to continue to go up and up and up and up. I mean, that just seems to be generally the plan. Big D Smoke shared a good meme here in the news area, which it's not fun to laugh about it, but it's fun to laugh about how bad Elon Musk is. Hold on, let me download it here real quick. I'll download it so I can post it up here, so I can make sure that people get their just desserts. Add source, image file. Yeah, we got these new buttons now we got to deal with. Decent. It gives you a real. Oh my God, why does it do that? I just click on this, then I hate this software. I detest this software so much. I click on this window right here, it highlights it, and then and then when I go to move it, it moves this camera back here. This is just so terrible. It's just so terrible. Whatever. But this is a good example of like why I get frustrated in the world that we live in right now, is like Elon Musk sucks, but here's a good life lessons from this Elon Musk meme. You just lie about your past. Yep, just do that. Steal other people's inventions. Use child labor in Africa. Emotionally manipulate your wife, then divorce her. Post epic memes on Twitter. Wholesome 100. There you go. That's just how you do it. That's how it gets done. But it's like these are the people I'm having to deal with realistically, right? Because it's like the investment groups that are going around and buying stuff as was highlighted by Adam Wing, says we're in competition with BlackRock. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily BlackRock. It's like investment groups are just buying up,
single family homes, especially apartment complexes and that kind of stuff, driving up the prices. And there's just like really no, there's just really no like end in sight. And it just doesn't seem like there's going to be any kind of end in sight. Andrew L. says it's only getting harder and more expensive. Yeah, it's just like, it's just never ending at this point. And, I was in kind of a big, like tizzy argument with some creators over the weekend that were talking about the stream awards or whatever the hell those were supposed to be. I don't know what it's supposed to be. They're trying to defend people like Hassan Piker who are just watching TV shows on their stream. And I got to admit that I'm a little bit jealous that people could just sit on stream and watch Hell's Kitchen or whatever Gordon Ramsay show and just sit there and make, $10,000 an hour while like going to take a potty break, basically. Like, I'm going to go take a potty break, eat some food, work out while you guys watch Hell's Kitchen on my stream, right? And I think it's pretty awful because, the reality is that, like, regardless of who makes stuff, it's that people are putting money out there to produce content, and then people are just re-airing it and making money. Yeah, and I was just sitting there going like, look, to those people out there that haven't like ever made content, like it is an extraordinary struggle trying to budget like making content, putting stuff together. When people watch it online, they just go like, oh, it's a free thing that I just watched, and now it's just free, right? And I find myself in a position of going like, yeah, man, I've spent a lot of my personal resources to make content for a long time, and I just, I don't want to spend money out of pocket to do projects like the way that I was previously. So it's not that I'm going to spend $0. It's that I'm just going to make sure that I'm not wasting a ton of money to make stuff in a certain way. It's just how it's got to be. Adam Wink says the Great Asset Relocation Project. Apparently. S says he messes up everything. He messes everything up. Yeah, pretty much. Big D says that's how you all pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Yeah, exactly. That's how you're going to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. It's just going to be, you just do those 5 steps and you've bootstrapped yourself. Also start out with a lot of money. If you start out with a lot of money, that's going to be the great, way to do it. If your dad gives you a bunch of money, it's going to be a great way to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. I guess, like if you get a whole bunch of money from your dad, from Daddy Warbucks, yeah, you can use that money to grab your bootstraps with and lift yourself up. And of course, make your bed. If you made your bed, don't worry about it. All the inequities in life just go away when you make your bed. There's a big conversation on the Discord right now going on about about sandwiches that are made as a lettuce wrap, and I laugh so hard at it because I remember around the time when suddenly everybody became gluten intolerant in the United States. I don't know if this happened around the world, but like probably 10 years ago, suddenly everybody was gluten intolerant, or they had a gluten allergy or whatever. And it's definitely died down to more tenable rates now that make more sense with like people that are actually gluten intolerant. But it was 50% of orders that we got in the kitchen would be like, oh, gluten intolerant. They're it's just, and I was laughing about it because Alyssa was talking about we should make a lettuce wrap thing, and at the time, the only thing we had that was like gluten free was we'll just wrap that thing in lettuce instead of bread, and we were like sending out hamburgers that were just sitting on a pile of lettuce, and like pick up this burger with this lettuce, and then eat it, you know. And apparently, that still exists at places to this day, to the point where Rumbus was sharing a picture of the burger place that he orders burgers from, and you can get a salad wrap burger. Which, hey man, I guess it's just made its way onto menus throughout the world now, which is great. You got to think, hey, that brings all of our community together. The world community is just coming together because of lettuce wrap burgers, you know? And that's great. Who would have thought? Who would have thought we would have been circling the wagons for lettuce wrap burgers? You know what I mean? Amazon is sending me a whole bunch of emails all of a sudden, and nope, I'm not hacked or anything. No one has gotten a hold of my account. It's just it suddenly sent me a string of advertising emails, and I don't know if this guys, does this happen to you? Does this happen to you with Amazon? Suddenly 5 emails, you know, just asking you about rating your transaction and stuff, and it's like, dude, I'll let you know if it's broken. How about that? You know? And then now I'm getting the emails are coming in crazy. None of them from Patreon though, so we can't change the numbers on the screen. So we've got that going for us. Okay, where are we at? What were some of the other things we wanted to talk about today? Where's my? Is that my list? Oh my god. Oh, okay. And if there are people out there that want to join up, I'm gonna keep doing this because I'm going to scroll up here. Joseph Stanley. I was going to say Joseph Stanley, but I didn't want to get it wrong. Joseph Stanley is the one that put me on to people that use an iPhone. There is no join button on YouTube, so I'm going to keep putting it in the chat and talking about it. So there we go. Because that's not what I wanted to talk about today. That list that I pulled up was the links list. Where did it go? Where was the thing that I wanted to talk about? We'll go out here to this website. All right. What are we looking at now? Hoi! Yeah. This is probably one of the more interesting pieces of... I think this has been... Let me see. I want to double check here. Yeah, so here's the Pew. So this is what somebody was asking me about the other day. And this has a link to a bunch of the studies that I was talking about the other day. I wonder if this link's too long. It'll post it in the chat. So the Pew Research Center did sort of a conglomerate. This is sort of a meta study of different studies. You have to kind of go through and look at the studies. A bunch of them were okay. To the extent of my knowledge from having read this like quite a while ago, there are some studies in here. A bunch of them have been peer reviewed. A lot of them are sort of political correlative data, basically, of like how would you vote depending on what degree you have and whatnot. And there's a few other studies that are attached to this that I think are worth looking into. They're highlighted within the article, and it's all pretty easy for you to read versus just the studies. So this is one of the things that I was talking about a little while ago, where information could be found about people who have gone to college later in life and gotten a degree later in life, and the relationship with that from a perspective of essentially like the single housewives, right? So to give a paraphrase here, they found out that housewives, not single housewives, sorry, housewives that raised children and went to college later became a lot more, I guess, liberal, a lot more progressive, a lot more left-leaning on policy by leaps and bounds comparative to themselves in the time leading up to having gone to university. And, you know, I think it's stuff like this that gets people, like, really riled up. And it gets people, like, really upset. Now, the people were looking into this because they're trying to figure out political polarity, right? So they're trying to figure out if you're a left-leaning person or a right-leaning person, like, where does this typically come from? And generally speaking, in a very generalized way, okay, there are anecdotal cases out there for sure. Generally speaking, most people that are left-leaning are more educated and have had more contact with other societies and other groups. Where this became super obvious was housewives that raised kids from an early age and then went to college later at, like, say 45, 40, 30, whatever. Their kids are grown up. They decided to go to school so that they would have a degree so that they could go work because they didn't have any kids anymore. Generally is the group where it was very easy to look at and go, there's a definitive shift in their life from here to there, and then suddenly their politics change dramatically. Now, right-leaning people will tell you that they've been indoctrinated. When I've asked over and over and over again, what are some examples of this indoctrination that you could give, as an example of an indoctrination that is being taught in those classes. Of late, CRT is what has been brought to the forefront of our politics in the United States. CRT is an advanced class that sort of originated in law school, and most people are definitely not a first-year freshman in college learning about CRT, let alone the high school kids and all that kind of stuff. So that has been the example that's been brought forward. When it's explained that this isn't something that is taught in early academics, even early academics in college, that gets brushed aside and they say, well, they're teaching it to 5-year-olds. And so the completely outlandish claim then has to be refuted that, well, it's not being taught to 5-year-olds. That's ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. Do you have evidence of that? Oh, no, there was a school teacher in Alaska or something that was teaching their kids about sexual orientation or something. Boom, next thing you know, now we've got a bunch of laws going on the books to not be able to explain to young kids that some parents happen to be gay, right? And somebody a while back was a little bit pissed at me for talking about the fact that these housewives go out, they go and experience other cultures by going to a school, because schools have all types of people from all types of groups of people from around the world going to college together. You get exposed to a bunch of different cultures, and then from there, it sort of opens up your viewpoint of realizing that basically people from Peru want the same things that people in the U.S. want. People from China want the same thing that people from the U.S. want. Just go down the list in your head with every country, and it'll all be the same thing. And it was one of the exhibits that you could look at, and this is the study that you can go through and look at some of the studies to find out where people were, where the groups were being interviewed from, who was brought into the study, and where the kind of jump off point where some of these findings were coming from. And so I bring this kind of stuff up on my show because I want an open platform to talk about certain things. I want an open platform to talk about certain things, and because I air on YouTube, there really is no point of entry for people to come in and start commenting and getting in arguments with me on Facebook. And a good example of that was somebody who was a fish keeper a little while ago got super pissed off at me because I had posted a thing on Facebook about Ruth Bader Ginsburg passing away, and they came on and they started commenting on the Facebook post about Ruth Bader Ginsburg because somebody that they knew had died, right? And the way I see it is you've basically showed up to either a eulogy or a funeral or whatever you want to call it and decided to start shouting about the person that you know that died. And it makes no sense to do that. Because me as a person, I would go, oh, we're here because the X person died. Why would I suddenly start making it about my own thing, right? And me being the kind of person I am, and when people start to act super disrespectful, I tell them to F off, right? Because I'm not going to stand up for it, or I'm not going to stand for it. I will stand up for myself and tell people when I think something that they're doing is disrespectful, or just blatantly like wrong, right? And so I get in these little tiffs, and then for some reason, these people characterize me in their mind as somebody that they've actually had an interaction with. And then when if in the off chance someday they'll meet me in real life, they're immediately pissed off, blah, blah, blah. They're just super mad about anything that could possibly go on. And I realize that there are a lot of people out there in this world that have zero contact with other groups of people. And I think a lot of it has to do with people just not being educated at all. Like, I realize that I'm the kind of person that when I see something, I become interested in it so that I can try to figure out how it works, why people would enjoy this, why people would be interested in this, and why people would be pursuing this, as opposed to dismissing something on the stance of, oh, I don't like that, so I won't bother to learn about it. And I really wonder what percentage of the world is of Group A and Group B. Now, let's say I'm in Group B, and I happen to be 20% of the population. Then there's 80% of the population that is being immediately dismissive of things that they just don't like or whatever. An immediate example to something that is going on this show was on Friday. I talked about football. I talked about football for a minute, maybe a couple of minutes. Talked about football for about 5 minutes. Maybe we talked about it for 10 minutes. I don't know. It's a short period of time as far as I'm concerned. We talked about football because the NFL, the National Football League, is currently in their free agent situation. I happen to enjoy football a lot. So I happen to follow it. I happen to follow what's going on with not everybody, but I happen to follow what's going on so that I can stay relatively informed as to who went where. Did somebody make an upgrade? Was there a crazy contract that got signed, or this or that or the other thing? Just so that I can know a kind of expectation on what is going to happen next year. And a lot of people out there go, I hate football. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. But to me, I find football to be interesting. And the things that are going on, like S said, speaking of football, Matt Ryan just went to Indianapolis. The Indianapolis football Colts have picked up the Atlanta Falcons' Matt Ryan. Now, why would that even be important to me at all, right? Why would that be important to me at all? Because if Matt Ryan went to the Indianapolis Colts, there's a possibility that Baker Mayfield will come to the Seattle Football Seahawks. I am in favor of Baker Mayfield coming to the Seattle Seahawks for a year because I think it would be advantageous to do a 1-year deal with that guy, have him come here, play some exciting football for a year, and if it turns out he's the guy, you could try to pay him a lot of money for a lot of years to play here for a long time, or you could let him go to another team. And I think it's the most advantageous thing. But a lot of people would go like, well, that's football. I don't care. I don't like it. That's disgusting. Blah, 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 blah. Don't care. Blah, blah, blah. Right? So, you know, like the issue is that generally speaking, I try to learn about all of the things that are going on. You know, I try to learn about the things that I encounter on a day-to-day, right? Like, I enjoy football, so I want to learn about it. I enjoy soccer, so I want to learn about it. I enjoy construction, so I want to learn about it. I enjoy aquariums, so I want to learn about it. You know, and that's generally how I just go about my day-to-day, and it seems normal to me to be in that mode, right? And just continue to operate in that mode. Matthew Smith says, are the Cardinals a football team? Sorry, I'm a dumb Brit. Yes, Arizona. They play out of Phoenix, Arizona. And Mark Balkwell is right there, the Arizona Cardinals. He's a Cardinal fan. Barkwell. I should say Balkwell because I know how to talk sometimes. But you know, Mark and I, we give each other gentle ribbings about the Arizona Football Cardinals and the Seattle Football Seahawks. And it's always a good time. I think it's a good time. But some people take it completely out of hand, and they have a bunch of flags hanging off the back of their truck and all that kind of stuff. So admittedly, I'm not one of those guys. And I think some people can get way out of hand with stuff. And I think generally that's what happens when you get stuck in a vibe and just stay in that vibe forever. Matthew Smith is asking, how do you guys feel about the Sunshine Act? Personally, I think personally it's the only thing that has passed the Senate in, I think it was 100, was it unanimous? Senate vote on Sunshine Act. Oh my God, is it not going to pass the House? Let's see. Immediately after the Senate passed the bills, I had members come up to me on the floor and say, "Oh, don't do that. I want the standard time." Uh, let's see. Yeah, I think it passed the Senate unanimously. I think. I mean, I think realistically, if we stop moving the clock, it would be fine. I don't think anybody would care. And the reasons for that, I think that daylight savings time was effective when the power grid was when the power grid was in trouble and we all worked all the same hours and stuff. I think that daylight savings time was. I think it was like an important like energy savings metric. Metric? I don't know if that's the right word. I'm not using the right word there, but I think it was a good way to save electricity at a time when electricity wasn't as prevalently used as it is and supplied as it is now. I would think that like the only state that would be against it would be Texas, because Texas has no redundancy on their electric grid. So they're all just kind of screwed because they've decided to go full independent and not be a part of the federal tie-in. So when their grid goes down, they just have a bunch of people freeze to death and they burn a bunch of oil in their yard or whatever it is they decide to do down there in Texas. I think the reason for daylight savings time made a lot of sense when people didn't have artificial lighting. And the studies that I've seen, which, by the way, are not good studies. These are not good studies. They're not very good. But the studies that I've seen about daylight savings time currently are everybody has artificial light all the time, so it really won't affect any of the things that people are worried about, like seasonal affective disorder, all that kind of stuff. We have look how many lights I have. I have 4 lights on right now in this room. So there's really no reason to earnestly worry about any of that stuff. People have seasonal affective disorder. You should just get a daylight. You should get some daylight lights and shine them on you when it's dark out too long. It's the basic advice I could give to anybody is like get some strong daylights that you could sit under for a half an hour out of the day, and you'll likely get some vitamin D up in your body, and you'll feel better. You know? Yeah. Archer's friend is here. So, oh my God, did I miss the yellow arrow? I don't know. I don't think I've used the yellow arrow yet today. But it's a good point. It's a good point that you bring it up. We should bring it in just in case. Just to have seen it today. There it is. Let's point it at Kiwi Mamo. Oh, Kiwi Mamo, people are chatting. You got to get back into the chat so we can point it at you again. You know, I think realistically, as far as like the daylight saving stuff goes, we should probably just stop doing it. Because I don't see there being the advantage that was originally brought in for, which is power saving. You know, just saving electricity. Get lights because it stays dark an hour too long. Seems like the right decision. You know, my thing is that, like, you know, you move the clocks. You don't create more daylight. It doesn't create more daylight time. It just moves that hour to the front end or the back end, right? So, you know, I don't think it's really all that important. Hey, I'm here for it, and I'm in Texas. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, you know. Big D Smoke says, artificial light don't matter in what I did for a living, so that extra hour made a difference. Dennis, you also haven't worked in 20 years, right? I mean, not to laugh at you not being able to have worked, but things have generally changed, you know? But, you know, the thing is that, like, if we can build the roads and freeway projects and build concrete overpasses in the middle of the night, I think construction can be totally and completely flexible in the times that workers need to be there. You know, and artificial light's way better than it used to be. Oh, there we go. Kiwi Mamo has commented again, so now we can move the yellow arrow. Kiwi Mamo. Oh my God, Joel G's here. Did I say hi? Am I supposed to say hi to everybody when they show up? I don't know, because I feel like if I try to maintain saying hi to everybody, I will miss people, and then I'll feel bad about missing people, right? So I try to do it as I see it, and sometimes I don't notice people. If I don't notice people, become a member today. Oh, sick burn, making fun of myself. But if you have an iPhone, you don't have a button. And somebody mentioned earlier for me to tell Corey to tell the internet people at YouTube to integrate the iPhone to having a button. Now, first off, to imagine that Corey didn't bring that up, I'm sure he did. To the point where I think he and I talked about it like a year ago, or a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Who knows when we talked about it? I know that we were like, hey, the iPhone doesn't work. And they're like, YouTube's like, yeah, I know. It's because it's iPhones. And, that's their answer. So I wish that they did. And I wish that me bringing it up to Corey would get you guys some kind of resolution. But I know that we brought that up like a million years ago. And needless to say, they know. They know about it. So they know what's up. They know what's going on. Patty's petite. Or just stupid. Wait, what? People need to get some real problems to worry about. I think everybody has real problems to worry about. That's for sure. And one of the things that the reason for me bringing that up is that hopefully some people can go do some short reading, some simplified reading as to, just like why or why not people's attitudes may or may not differ from a standpoint, and from why. What is that standpoint? Where does that come from? Is generally really important to me. I feel like it's very difficult to have an opinion and have no information as far as I'm concerned. And I am an opinionated person and like to talk about stuff, so I always find myself engaged with wacky conversations all the time. Big D says, not on a 7-building job site. You are not lighting up every area, including all the layout spots and where people store equipment. Talked to my buddy 2 days ago, and he was happy daylight savings time because it's still the same. Yeah, I mean, Arizona, it's super hot, and so you can't work in the middle of the day, right? You can't work in the middle of the day in Arizona because it's super hot out. So, should we make it not hot out? I mean, sometimes the job site's rainy. Sometimes the job site's snowy. Sometimes it's too windy to work. I mean, if we're going to keep or save daylight savings time because someone is being inconvenienced by not having a lot of light on their job site from the sun, that seems really weird to me. That seems really weird. I do a lot of electrical work, and the weird thing that I've tried to explain to people is that, like, when you're doing electrical work, the power is not on. So there's no lights on. So I wear a headlamp, and I carry lights with me all the time. I think it just kind of is what it is. I hear some people crying upstairs. I hear people crying upstairs. Joel G's using his milestone chat. It went from 3 months and then 5 months. Well, it's probably because you just skipped 4, because everybody knows 4 is like an inferior number. Through Apple accounts, scroll up. I talked about it. It's because of the in-app purchases. Yeah, I mean, it's, the Apple stuff is weird, but it is what it is. Paula Kreinberg says, just stop moving the clocks. We have artificial lights now. Yeah, that's the thing. New Local Austin says, fine, change the shift hours twice a year. Yeah, I mean, that's the reality of, like, what would probably have to happen is that everybody just moves their shift hours here and there, which they should be able to do that nowadays. But, hey man, everyone's got to only work between the hours of 9 and 5. That's it, period, right? That's how that works. I guess. I don't know. The thing was, like, I did street sweeping for construction companies for multiple years in the early 2000s, and we always had to work at night. So I worked 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. is when I worked. I pick up my truck at 5 o'clock, do my pre-trip inspection, load out my truck, fuel my truck, get ready to go, try to be on the road by like 5:45. 5:45, 5:30 if I was going super fast, if I got lucky and could go super quickly. And then I work 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And it's because we had to work at night because that's when there wasn't that many people around. Otherwise, there was just like too much traffic and cars and things in the way to be able to do your job. So, we had to accommodate to go that route. Oh, hold on. We got what's going on, babe?
I gotta take her. She's crying. It hurts so bad.
Okay.
I gotta take her now.
Do you want me to go with you?
I was gonna go to Puyallup. If you can, because I've got 3 meetings.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be up in just a minute. All right. Baby Bear is not feeling well. Yeah. So, hey, man. That's it for today. Hopefully you guys have a fun week, and I'll be back after going and taking the baby to the doctor. See ya.